Germany, famous for the Oktoberfest beer festival, incredible football teams, but not at the moment, the majesty of the Bavarian Alps, not that, I'm not going to talk about that, and the world's best chocolate, Kinder. I mean, it is if you're a child or a man-child, because it's super sickly and has a toy in it. Yes, an absolutely terrible toy, but I don't see you doing any toys at all, Mars Bar, you dickhead. But look, Germany had a couple of bad moments in recentish history, I'll give you that, but which country worth its salt hasn't forcibly tried to take the world violently and with force, right? Look, I can forgive the football semi-finals of 1990 and 1996, the treatment of our POWs, hell, even the Holocaust if I have to. What I won't abide is them hiding video games away from us and keeping them to themselves. And yet this is what they did with this game here. Schweinhunds! What game was it? Well, it was Das Geheimnis der Happy Hippo Insel. I'm something of an incel myself. You know, comes with the territory when you're making Holocaust jokes. Should it have left its native land, it would have been called this: The Secret of Happy Hippo Island. So did we miss out with this game? Well now, I'm going to tease you like I'm in one of those dominatrix clubs that are popular in Hamburg. We're first going to look at that sickly chocolate I was championing stroke belittling a little while back and find out what they were all about. Is that okay? Well, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, look, for one, I told you a big fib. Do you know how I said that Kinder chocolate was from Germany? I was, in fact, talking bollocks. It's actually by Ferrero, who are Italian. Yes, Italian. And you know who Ferrero are, don't you?
Monsieur, with this rocher you're really spoiling us.
But Kinder is German for children, and this game came out in Germany. You can see why I was confused, but yes, indeed it was launched as Kinder chocolate in both countries in 1968, both Italy and Germany. Michel Ferrero in the town of Alba, northern Italy, proposed to make a chocolate enticing to children that also reassured mothers that there was at least some modicum of nutrition in there, so he added a layer of milk under the carapace of brown delicious choco tooth rot. And lo, the Kinder chocolate was born, and there was much rejoicing. Some 6 years later, Michel and William Salis gave us the Kinder Surprise, that chocky egg with a piece of plastic inside. Famously, as pointed out by my fellow countryman and antagonistic sentient phone-hacking thumb, Piers Morgan, Kinder eggs are banned in the States for being dangerous to children, while you can simply walk in and buy actual machine gun bullets in the same shop as a loaf of bread. Kinder Surprise was the chocolate that took them from the Italian Germano region and made them into a worldwide brand. Well, except America. Kids loved it, and at some point in the late 80s, early 90s, some bright spark decided to make the toys collectible by launching the Teeny Terrapins, 10 little hand-painted statuettes mimicking the ever-popular Smurfs, and preceding the collectible nature of the Beanie Baby craze. Indeed, it was also, along with Panini sticker books, a precursor in itself to the blind bag phenomenon that's still popular as a money siphoning scam to this day. If you wanted the full set of Teeny Terrapins, you'd have to eat another 150 eggs. You little swine, get fatter, collect your little turd. The Teeny Terrapins became a bit of a money spinner, so they started trying to replicate the success with other creatures. Among them, the Happy Hippos. Look at this, kids, it's building up to the game. I may not be good at pacing, but I sure know how to introduce elements to a story. And that story being that the Happy Hippos were a troop of happy-go-lucky horse of the river types who dossed around on a cruise liner. There were 10 of them, and you'd bloody collect them, wouldn't you? The Happy Hippo line of toys was inevitable, seeing as a blue hippo had been used in the advertising for Kinder since 1987, and indeed had its own legless hippo-shaped confection the same year. The Happy Hippos, by hook or by crook, are now the mascot of the brand. So that's the history of the hippo and the Kinder, all dealt with and eaten. So let's get to that video game toy inside. Kinder were relentlessly good at marketing, and in 2002 they decided that the best avenue for their latest run of Germanic marketing was a competition involving the Nintendo Gameboy Color. So they ran a competition where you could win one of the 111 limited edition Happy Hippo yellow Game Boy Color consoles, which just looked like normal consoles, except there was like a bamboo square around the screen and it had the game's logo on the front. Would that be worth a lot of money now? Yeah, put it this way. The game, freely available in Bavarian shops 20 years ago, can fetch prices of around $500 in box. The console, which was a prize only and of which just over 100 were made, selling your kidneys probably won't cover it. The game itself was programmed by the team at Kritzy Kratz 3000, who mainly spent their time coding for the Game Boy Color, the DS and the Game Boy Advance, with intermittent titles on Windows. The publisher was Austrians Joe Wood Entertainment, who were again a fairly unremarkable publisher. It's not really boding well for the Happy Hippo game, is it? The story of Das Geheimnis der Happy Hippo Insel is well, it's in German. What's a boy to do? Learn German like hell. Luckily, some lovely person on Tinternet, link below, has done a importable English translation file. The story has you as Max Mutig, otherwise known as Max Courageous, who is tasked with finding out just why the volcano on the island is farting out lava again. Is he a geologist? No. But off he's sent to investigate. Walking towards a volcano seems like a really bad idea. Do your friends hate you that much? He does this in a platforming escapade with 6 levels, split into 3 stages. These stages are fairly short and you can really feel the game is designed for very small kinders. Yeah, kinders. I said kinders. I'm learning German, aren't I? Max leaps around the brightly coloured environments, picking up water balloons which he gobs at volcano-caused fires. These will usually block his way or will have trapped one of his pals, who look jolly well distressed about being in this predicament. Just as you imagine hippos probably would be in that situation, as would you or I. What's interesting is that these hippos tend to have instruments with them. Given that hippos don't have thumbs, they probably play those instruments pretty badly, and so you start to wonder whether those fires were caused by a volcanic explosion or their friends just trapping them behind fire because they won't bloody shut up with those instruments. Occasionally, the environment will provide a coconut for you to toss at an adversary. This nut throw has a high arc, which makes it difficult to hit your opponent, but luckily these nuts regenerate within a couple of seconds, so you can try again. The bags of water also regenerate too. Now, the bags of water are not only your ammo for putting out the fires, but also represent your life bar. And as these are scattered liberally around the very small levels, it makes completing the game in short order a highly likely outcome. You will do it in less than an hour, no question. The end of each level gives you some quite ominous sounding music, suggesting a boss battle is in the offing. But a boss battle never emerges. Instead, you get a rather pointless minigame which is completely inconsequential on how well you do. You can just skip it with no penalty and go to the next level. Were there boss encounters that Kinder vetoed because they didn't want them in the game for whatever reason? Or was there a tight deadline? Not too sure. With the ominous music, it certainly feels like they should have been there, and it certainly makes the game feel unfinished, or at least rushed. Graphically, it is actually quite a lovely looking Game Boy Color game, with charming sprites and the colour bit of the Game Boy Color being wrung like a groin flannel before a 3rd or 4th date. Music too is pretty nice. It's got that kind of plinky plonky 16-bit computer game sound, but a really good one. So yeah, it sounds very much like a Euro platformer, and as it's a German produced platformer, that should come as no surprise at all, as it certainly plays like one too. The jump is one of those sort of high but short leaps that were indicative of the Euro platformers at the time. And actually the weirdest thing about this game is how similar it is to the recently covered and also programmed in Europe Bar game on the Game Boy Advance. Both have a small compact 3-stage level structure, both have fire extinguishing with your face mechanics, a singular swimming level when the character instantly drowns in all the other levels that have water, and both are incredibly short and easy. Oh, and they both obviously feature an outsized grey African animal as the lead protagonist. But the fact these games always play quite similar should come as no surprise really. A lot of Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color licensed games are like this if they're programmed in Europe. It's a callback to the European platformers of a gen or two before this. All in all, The Secret of Happy Hippo Island is a very unremarkable game. I went through the whole game in about 50 minutes, not knowing that I had a roly-poly attack, and I only found it once I had to use it, which was during the last stage of the last level, which means the game was essentially even easier than I thought it was. Seriously though, how can you get to the last stage of the last level of a game and not know one of the game's core mechanics? What an imbecile. That'll teach me to play a game in German before I knew there was an English translation. Oh, and if you're wondering what the eponymous secret of the Happy Hippo Island is, well, and spoilers ahead, so turn around fans of high quality storytelling, it is that a fat dino bird has sat on the cooling spring at the core of the volcano. Is this the image you want to be giving off for a game based around chocolate? Has it eaten a lot of Kinder Bueno? So yes, unlike the chocolate that inspired the game, Das Geheimnis der Happy Hippo Insel, and I hope I said that at least once correctly, well, it's a rather bland treat that a child would probably not thank you for, like an off-brand penguin clone from Aldi. It's not terrible by any means, it's just unsatisfying. No reviews exist in English, so let's just ask this mind-scarring freak from the 1970s Kinder advertising what he thinks instead.
It's right fucking shite!
Next up, time to get the pug mask out, as it'll be Halloween as we take a look at the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Are you getting ready for me to go bark? Because I probably won't. Like, subscribe, and thanks, bye.